World of YouTube, Site here with another video. Starting to get a little obsessive. I'll tell you, the more you think you won't go over something that has already been gone over for who knows, dozens and multiple times, you can't help stepping back into the story of the Zodiac Killer. And mind you, I am really peed off that I lost. I think I have it in my last video, but I literally was on an article about the Zodiac Killer, and there was a white Volkswagen Beetle bug in the article. Now, for some reason, I didn't save it, or I did save it. And mind you, it disappeared. I mean, I could have, but I didn't. And I was going to go back and look into that, but now I'm having a hard time trying to find it. And that really pees me off because of the simple fact of, if there was some type of bug, and I think it was maybe got to do with the Massachusetts side, and I can't find that article either. I have to go back into that other story I had of that author that wrote the book 17 times. But all in all, this Volkswagen Beetle, folks, being in the Zodiac article, and I don't even think it said anything about Ted Bundy, but if this is the case, that somehow, some way that a Volkswagen Beetle was involved in some or one of many of the Zodiac killings, that'd be a high interest to me, because it's about wondering if he was in, not only San Francisco, and because the murders stopped out there, maybe he took a trip out to the East Coast to start havoc. And that would even be more insane to think of, and interesting, because there was a Volkswagen Beetle that the singer Deborah Harry said she encountered, of a Volkswagen Beetle that she got into one night in the city of New York, and realized that there was no door handles to get out, or a window handle to open the window. So one can only imagine, and she escaped that car, mind you. Wouldn't that be ironic if it was and had something to do with Mr. Zodiac himself? But in some ways, if you think about it, and I could say, that would be a crazy thing to think of, because of the simple fact Zodiac Killer always surprised and snuck up on his victims. But you never know. He could have changed something in his little sick world and wanted to do something different. But all in all, I'll tell you, it's just this case. You just can't walk away from it and say, no, you see and find more things that, and this person here claims that he has solved the case, but when I looked at the picture of the man he is ciphering here, Mr. Arthur Lee, it in no way is that the man, and they even said it right, the writing does not match. Even though he was an early suspect in the crime, he is not the perpetrator. He is not the predator. And there's a distinctive thing in his head that proves it. Especially they have the forehead lines that were distinctively put in the original sketch But you know what? I don't know about sketches, man, because sometimes, who knows? They could just be rightfully... You know, there was a sketch that was written out, and it was in, you know, the 21st century, the year 2000. You know, and it was about Baby Doe there. The girl that was found on Deer Island. That sketch didn't really look too much like the original kid. Even though, you know, and I'm sure today's technology and stuff could reconstruct the face pretty damn good, but the reason why they're having a hard time finding that girl, because the sketch wasn't that accurate. So who knows how much accuracy of the Zodiac Killers think about it photo really is. How accurate that is. But moving on to this, it's as if you were probably reading it or whatnot. You know, in this plea of help me, don't want to kill, but he's killing anyways. I believe he put Arthur Lay's name in this, you know, cryptic message because he just wanted to toy around more. He just wanted to, you know, kill some time to do more of what he did best. I mean, even though he's only got 5 victims that died, and say so another, I don't know, you know, injured ones that survived or multiple witnesses. This guy claims he killed 37 people. And you know how people can exaggerate too. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm sure he did do the murders he said, but it's just weird. And you could say very strange on how something or someone like this could be just, you know, exaggeration. You're gonna tell this guy had a lot of mental health, but you can also tell this man was very brilliant. Because he used the codes and symbols and, I mean, this man really sat down and prepared what he was gonna do. Only it goes to show how much time this guy had on his hands. I mean, he had to be rich or had a lot of money to really, you know, have the time to sit there and, well, I'm going to go to work today. I can just sit here and decipher codes. And he must have had all these books sitting around his house. And the guy who did do the deciphering on this used them little V, you know, symbols and all kinds of stuff that's related to numbers. And I mean, right, you got to be a mathematical genius to just sit there and do all this. I mean, using the stuff, like I said, through algebra with all the symbols and, you know, that man, I'll tell you, if the only thing I would have taken that course of math would have been probably the way this case was. That would be the only way I would take algebra, to try and, you know, learn the numbers and symbols and blah, 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 blah. Even though, yeah, you gotta go through all the chemicals of being a chemist and all that stuff. You gotta know that stuff. And, you know, I wasn't just having that stuff. I mean, believe me, right? If you could decrypt stuff like this, man, that would be the only reason why I'd want to take algebra. But unfortunately, But it doesn't mean I can't go back, take out books, check out these numbers, or even look it on the internet. But man, that just takes a lot of time. I don't have that much time to do anything like this, because this guy here, man, took 6 to 8 hours, or no, 6 hours to decipher something, and another 4 hours to do it another way. You know, that's just a lot of time. I mean, and believe me, if you got it and you can do it, hey, that's great. But this case, man, I mean, there's gotta be something that was missed. And there's probably still a lot more things that could be looked into this case, but I think that everybody's just so exhausted of it. And by this point, yeah, I'm sure that Zodiac Killer is dead. And they just want to, forget about it. Yeah. I mean, there are claims of who it could be. There are claims that they have found him. Everything's out there. And then actually there's another guy I got to go over, but this guy, Arthur Leigh Allen, and I can guarantee you right now this is not him, because he's got a fat, round face. And if you look at the forehead, there's no lines, distinctive lines. But not only that, you can see where his temple is. There's a huge, his skull is just got that weird bone that sticks out the forehead. And that right there is proof that this is not the guy, because you can see the indent in his head. And his forehead just literally, for some reason, I've seen this head before, but I'll tell you, it's very rare when you see a forehead like this. I don't know what it is, but to me, yeah, I've always, when I did see someone with that type of forehead, and I'll tell you, it was very, very, few that I've seen, but it's just one of them foreheads that make you, what the hell? Yeah, you look like you got an alien head or something. But then again, it could be something type of, ape-man, gorilla head. Let alone caveman, like the last of the caveman heads. And that's why, obviously, these are the heads that made it to the point where people have their own scientific beliefs. Of course, we evolved from apes or gorillas. And everybody has their little system of who thinks created man, but that forehead right there has always been a interest of mystery to me. And of course, when you go there and you look at the Zodiac head, that's right. And Mr. What's his name, the Allen, ain't the type that could have a crew cut. And that was a young photo of Allen. I don't know if that was, that had to have been around the time of these killings. And of course, you can clearly see he has a huge, straight up bald head with a bald spot. And the Zodiac Killer obviously has all his hair, but them distinctive lines in his forehead, but no big, huge, ape-looking head skull. And his chin, of course, narrows and goes in the shape of a V to where the other guy's fat, round head. I'm sure that other guy, the Allen, was the type of sick, demented prick, but he's definitely not the Zodiac Killer. Then they have another guy I've got to go over, but I want to start doing a little bit more into this with the deciphering or whatnot. throw in a couple photos of people that they say. But I'm gonna see what I can do to try and get my own. Especially trying to find them last friggin' letters that were sent to the police. But so far, yeah, I've gotten die out of it, of course. Simple, easy shit. But trying to get them other words was kind of like, ugh. But I'm sure if I go back, I have a dictionary. And this is another thing, folks. You got to remember back in the 60s, I could say, and I could put money on it, and for damn sure, we were using words back in the 60s, that probably don't even exist no more. And there's a lot of words from the 30s. Thou, might, shall, steal, and vow this and thou. From the 17th century, way back up until we evolved into more words, of course. And I'm sure there's a lot new ones I don't even know about being put in a dictionary. But with that being said, words back then, you have to look up in the in codes. You really do have to do digging back into the books of them days. You just can't use modern stuff. And so I think I might have some roaming around. I know I got some encyclopedias, old ones, I'm gonna look into, but trying to get this time to do that, sucks. But I'll tell you, this case is, is mesmerizing. And it's very addicting. And the guy who ciphered that letter said it was a high of belief. But hey, I believe that guy. And I believe that the Zodiac Killer used Arthur's name because he wanted to screw, of course, with the minds of the cops. He's claiming that's the killer, but it ain't. You can clearly see it. Even though the sketch, like I said, who knows, but there was witnesses in the taxi murder. Just got done reading that. And that was his supposedly last murder in San Francisco Bay Area. Of the taxi guy he shot dead. Took a piece of clothing and sent it in with blood on it. So that right there being the proof that he was the Zodiac Killer. Them teenage kids that night that was across the street at 9:55 p.m. literally said he had a crew cut. So this man, could have been a military type person, gotten out of the military. But them crew cuts back in the day, man, they were very popular. Everybody back in them days, whether they had crew cuts or slick back grease hair with Brill cream in it. My father used to use that stuff. Brill cream, a little dab will do ya. But them crew cuts were very popular. Let alone if you were in the army. But I know one thing, this getting to the end of this case, and I don't know if they got that. They said something about DNA, but who knows even if this guy ever left any DNA. He was very smart, but yet he wrote letters that had misspelled words in it. Hey, he could have been one of them. He could have been like Rain Man. Not good in some things, but amazing in math. You don't have to be all there like to say so, Rain Man, to be amazing and gifted in one thing. So with that being said, I'm sure this guy did have some, qualities, or say so, just some difficulties and struggles in life, but math was his fourth amazing thing, I could say. He was amazing with it. But other things, that's probably why he did start a killing spree, because he's probably, looked down as a, oh, you're stupid. Like back in the day, they'd call you retarded type shit, But all in all, with that being said, all I can say is that this case, whether it's solved or not, just brings you and can get you, addicted in a heartbeat. It just brings you more. Obsessed with it. And man, I just tell you, I'm starting to see where I'm gonna be getting sucked into this thing, and even though they claim that it has been solved, but it hasn't. Yeah. But I'm gonna do what I can on this case, check it out, see what more I can dig into, and I gotta find that damn Volkswagen article. I'm pissed. I believe it's in my video, so I can find it. I did show what I wanted to do next in that video, showing the Boston, what it was called, and I was supposed to get into it, but now I can't find it. And that's why I do these videos, folks, because when you get that article and then it all of a sudden disappears, well, what does that tell you? Oh, man. Very, very pissed off at that. Drives you mad. Just like I'm sure this case would drive anybody mad because of the simple fact of right. Is he alive? And it brings you to the Boston Strangler. Within doubt, am I in jail or am I out? There's still mystery to that of who could have been tag teaming with that man, or say so, copycatting, or he was copycatting. But all in all, folks, these mysteries and these cases still intrigue and make you think and wonder, have they really been solved? Till that next video, be safe, take care, and always beware. You'll never know, folks, if you'll ever come across a modern day Zodiac